Welcome to the another video. In this particular video, we are going to host WordPress website using Nginx on VPS, virtual private server. Okay, so without wasting time, let's get started. So let's open the browser and open our cloud provider's account. Okay, so if you are learning about system administration, hosting website, etc., and if you don't have cloud account, that's a really bad thing, because at the end of the day, you are going to implement your skills and everything on the cloud only. Then why not start right now? If you don't have account, please use a link in the description. It will give you $200 free credit to try out DigitalOcean. Okay, and if you have already cloud account from different provider, no worries, you can use exact same cloud provider account with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start. So let's create a server on DigitalOcean. For me, I am going to use create droplets. Okay, so on DigitalOcean, droplet as same as server, so they call droplet to server. So let's go ahead, click on create droplet, then select the region. I'm going to select Bangalore. Then there is a OS section, select 22.0 for LTS, because LTS is the latest stable release version, which always better. Then go ahead and select basic plan. In regular, I'm going to select $6 plan, but you can select any plan according to your needs and website traffic. Okay, let's go ahead, and there is a option called SSH key, and there is an option called password. So if you are familiar with the SSH keys, then you can utilize this SSH key option, else you can go with the password. Okay, once you type the password, if you scroll a little bit, there is a name of the droplet and how many droplets you want to create. Basically name of the server and how many servers you want to create. So let's say I'm going to do web test. So that's my name of the droplet. And then you can select the project, but let's keep it by default. So let's create, and it should take less than a minute to completely create the droplet. Once you create droplet, we will get IP address, and then we will move forward with hosting WordPress website on that particular server. So as you can see, the server is created. Let's go ahead and copy this particular IP address from here. Open the terminal. If you are on Windows, open the CMD. Let me make my terminal a little bit bigger, and let's do SSH root at IP address, the IP address of the server that you have created already. So click on enter, and it should ask you, are you sure want to continue connecting? Yeah, I want to connect it. So type yes and enter, and then it will ask for password. You need to enter your password. So once you enter the password and hit enter button, it will log into the server. So let's clear the screen a little bit. First thing first, you need to do when you are on server or when you create a new server, first thing you need to do is update the repositories and upgrade the packages from older version to newest version. So I'm going to use apt update and then semicolon apt upgrade and -y, so that it will not ask for my confirmation if I mention -y, and hit enter. It should update all repositories, then it should start upgrading the packages. Okay, so upgrading might take a little bit time as it downloads the packages and then installs the packages of the latest versions. So as you can see on the screen, the upgradation process is complete. So let's do one thing, let's type the clear and clear out the screen. Next thing we need to do is we need to install some necessary packages. Okay, so if you remember our video topic, then it's a hosting WordPress website using Nginx. So that means we need to install Nginx, and hence we are hosting the WordPress website. We need to set up database also. That means we need to install the database packages also. So for installation, you can use apt install and Nginx. Okay, if we enter, and then it will ask for continue, again enter, and it will start installing the packages. So it will take a little bit around 1 or 2 minutes to install Nginx, and once that is done, we need to install the database packages. Okay, so let's wait for some time, and as you can see, it is showing the pop-up. Hit enter, and it should install the packages. So as you can see, installation is done. Next thing we need to do is you need to install some MySQL related packages. So what is MySQL? MySQL is a database which will be used by the WordPress website. So as you can see, I'm doing apt install MySQL server PHP FPM PHP MySQL. Okay, so as you can see, I'm mentioning the 3 packages in the same line. Okay, so Either you can mention one package one by one, or you can mention the all packages in the same line and it will install accordingly. So let's go ahead and let's enter. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, we have completed successfully installing the necessary packages. Okay, so let's move forward and let's do secure installation of secure setup of MySQL database. So you need to paste this particular command on the screen. Okay, so let me just clear this screen first using clear command, and then I'll paste the command. The command is sudo. Hence we are using the root user. It is not required to add sudo, but I am adding in case someone needs it, right? So sudo mysql secure installation, hit enter. Then it will ask few questions. You would like to say the password for the mysql db, or you want to keep the password empty. So if you are using in the production, if you are planning to use the website in the production, then definitely set the password file for the mysql. Okay, so in my case I am going to type y. What is the length of the password? I am going to set to the medium. So let's say type 1 and hit enter. Then again it is asking me remove anonymous users. So by default MySQL allows anonymous user, that we don't want. So let's type y and hit enter. Then there is another the root password of the network. So again just hit enter, it will take by default value. Then there is again one question, remove test databases and access list. Okay, hit enter. Then relate the privileges of the table now. Yes, done. And as you can see, it is saying all done. That means we are ready to go. So secure setup of the MySQL has been done. Okay, so there is a one most important thing. You need to do secure step of the MySQL DB installation very carefully, because there are some points where it is asking the questions about whether you want to expose your database over the network or not, and we don't want that. So in our application we are hosting sample WordPress website locally on the server, so there is no need to export the database on the network or the internet, right? So let's move forward and let's do login into the database. So for this you can do mysql-u root-p and you can enter the password right now. So if you remember, we passed the empty password, so we can just hit enter and it will log in into the MySQL DB. So if you have set up the password, then you need to password first and then it will give you access. Once it is done, we need to create a database. Hence we are hosting the WordPress site. I'll name the database WordPress. So command is create database WordPress and then hit enter. It is showing query okay, one row affected and dash dash dash. That means the command is successful and everything is right in the place. The next thing you need to do is you need to create the user and set up the password. So here is a catch. Right now I'm creating user called wp_user on the localhost and I'm setting the password. So right now I cannot just set the default password because I have set password hardness to the medium. If you remember secure installation that we did in few minutes back, then I have set up the password hardness to the medium. So let me enter some really strong password, not really strong password, but averagely strong password. So 222 ASD, let's say @$. That's my password. So hit enter. So it is saying your password does not satisfy the current policy requirement. No worries, let's copy that command again and make little bit changes in the password. So we are going to enter a at the end, and as you can see it is taking the command successfully. So what we need to do is we need to just simply save some credential. So I will split my terminal. If your terminal doesn't support this split functionality, you can just close it and I will open the txt file for you. Okay, this is my notepad right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this command here, so that I need this password later on. I need this particular user later on. So that's why I'm pasting right here. Okay, so once it is done, let's move forward. Okay, so I have saved the password. Okay, let's move forward and let's do something interesting. We need to set up the privileges for that particular account. For this you can use this particular command, grant all privileges of WordPress database to the WordPress user. hit enter and it is showing the command is successfully executed. Then flush all changes and then exit from the database. Okay, so exit and exit from the database. That's all we need to do about the database. Now very interesting thing, right now the database setup is done, the Nginx is installed, everything is done. Right now what we need to do is we need to set up the WordPress website. For this we need to download the latest version of the WordPress website. So let's go ahead, open the browser, open new tab and type right here download WordPress. Okay, sorry for spelling mistake. And you can see there is a first link called download WordPress. Either you can click on this download button, or what you can do is you can use the smart way. You can right click on the button and you can say copy link address, then minimize it, then go on the server side and do ls. So right now we are on the root folder. We need to go to the folder where the WordPress website we are going to host. So let's go to the cd. Cd is a basically change directory command, cd var/www. That's where we are going to host our WordPress website. So hit enter, do ls, and as you can see there is a HTML folder present by default. So when we install Nginx, it creates that folder. Then wget, so you can type wget and paste the link that you copied from the website. Okay, so if you haven't copied the link from website, or you are having any issues while copying the link from the website, you can just copy exact same link and it will work for you too. Once it is done, hit enter and it will take a little bit time to download the file. Once it is done, you can do ls, and as you can see it is showing the latest.zip. That means zip file is installed. There is one more thing, we need to extract the zip file in this current directory or current folder. For this we need package called unzip, and unfortunately we haven't downloaded that package yet. So do apt install unzip and that will install unzip package for us, which will be used to unzip the source code zip file. So let's wait for some time and the package's install is done. So once it is done, what you can do is clear the screen and type ls and see the files is there. Type unzip. Okay, so you need to type unzip and type latest.zip and hit enter, and it will extract the files for you. If you do ls, as you can see there is a WordPress folder is created. Now here is the catch. If you want to delete the latest.zip file in order to reduce the mess, you can do it. Otherwise, if you want to keep it, you can keep it. So in my case, I'm going to delete the latest zip file because we don't need that zip file anymore, because we have extracted zip file and the WordPress folder is created. Next thing we need to do is cd into WordPress directory, and there is a one file called wp-config. So we need to make sure that we make changes and we add necessary things in the wp-config. So let's do one thing first. We need to create wp-config from this sample. So let's search for wp-config right here. Okay, so it is showing the wp-config-sample-php. So let's copy this and let's say copy this file into the wp-config.php file. So you need to write exactly the same command. Once you're done, hit enter, and then we need to open the wp-config file using the nano. Nano is an editor. It's like a notepad in the Windows, right? So once you hit enter, you get this nice configuration file which look pretty much messy, but don't worry, everything is simple. As you can see, it is saying the DB name right here. So you need to enter your database name. If you remember from our last commands, we use WordPress as a database name while creating the database. And if you remember the username of the database, then we created one text file. Okay, so let me open that particular text file right here. So as you can see, this is the WP user. So let me paste this user right here, and the password. So let's remove the default password, go ahead into the text file, copy the password that we set and paste the password right here. Once it is done, hit Ctrl S, then Ctrl X in order to close the file. Ctrl S to save the file, Ctrl X to exit from the file. Now WordPress side setup is everything done. Okay, so last thing you need to do is execute pwd command. This is the current directory, print current directory command, which will tell where our WordPress files are. You need to copy this particular path. So I have copied the path and I will enter that particular path in the text file because we are going to use it later, right? So once it is done, next thing finally we need to do is we need to edit Nginx configuration in order to host WordPress website. So for this you can do cd and then clear this screen because the work in the WordPress directory is done. Right now we need to do the Nginx work. So we can use nano to edit the Nginx configuration file. If your user is Ubuntu, then you can use sudo nano. So let's go with the sudo nano /etc/nginx/site available, and here you can create your own custom configuration or you can modify existing default configuration. So in last my all of videos I have created new configuration. So in this particular video I'm going to modify default configuration. So the path I'm going to follow is nano etc nginx sites available and default, and hit enter. So as you can see right here, the default configuration is right here. So what you can do is you can modify this default configuration. If you scroll a little bit, as you can see, it is showing the root directory of the files of the website. So we need to modify this. We need to go ahead and let's say, and we need to add our own path. So if you remember, we have already copied the path right here. So let's copy this particular path and paste it right here. Okay. So once it is done, you need to go forward and we need to add the server name here. Okay. So by default server name is set to the IP address, but if you want to change it and host on some domain like xyz.com, then you can remove this underscore and you can do xyz.com here. But in my case, I'm going to keep it by default. The next thing we need to do is we need to remove this location and everything inside it because we are going to replace for WordPress. Okay, let's add the new WordPress configuration for Nginx. Okay, so once it is done, let's go ahead and paste the configuration right here. So there is a small indentation issue. You can fix the indentation by simply adding the spaces right here. So let me do quickly fix Nginx configuration indentation. So okay, it looks good. Okay, looks good. Then add 2-3 more spaces and it looks good. So once it is done, as you can see in this particular line, it is showing that fast CGI pass Unix run PHP version PHP 7.4 fpm.sock. So hence we are using latest version of the WordPress website. Our PHP version is going to be 8.1. So we are going to type 8.1 here, and then we need to do Control S in order to save the file, then Control X in order to exit from the file. Okay, so right now Nginx configuration is done. Now we need to check if our Nginx configuration is valid or not. For this we can do Nginx and -t. And that will tell us if the test is successful or not. It is saying test is successful. That means our Nginx configuration is fine and working. Next thing we need to do is restart the Nginx service. So service Nginx restart is the command, and hit the enter and it will restart the Nginx service. Once it is done, we need to do go to the browser and we need to copy address of the IP address of the website. So as you can see, once you do refresh of the website, it is showing the installation guide for your website. So that means WordPress is successfully set up on the server, and now you can host your website onto this. Okay, so right now, as you can see, the URL contains the IP address right here. So if you want to continue with this IP address, then you can do it. Or if you want to host that WordPress website on some domain, like suppose xyz.com, then in that case what you can do is you can just copy this IP address and go to the your domain name's DNS record, create a name record for this particular IP address, and once it is done, you can just go to the Nginx configuration and instead of IP address you can mention your xyz.com domain name. Okay, so I will show you in the configuration also. Let's clear the screen, do nano and etc Nginx sites available and default. And if you remember, As you can see right here, we are seeing listen on port 80 and there is a default server. So instead of this default server name, you can just type xyz.com or something like that. Make sure that you are pointing that domain to the same IP address, otherwise it will not work. And once it is done, you can access the WordPress website using the domain name. And if you want to set up the SSL, then I already have created the video for setting the SSL. Please go ahead and check that video. That video should be in the same playlist. And once it is done, you will have WordPress installed, and you have the domain pointed, and you will have HTTPS also. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much all for this video. If you have any doubts, please feel free to comment down below. And if you don't want to comment, there is a website called FluxxSet.com that I have created. You can just go ahead on this particular website. Okay, so let me enter my URL, and you can just simply ask me questions right here. Create a topic right here, and I can add the title of the question. Suppose I have doubt about the facing some issues with SSL. Okay, you can just type SSL, and then you can display your you can explain your questions right here, whatever the question is, and you can add necessary photos, screenshots, whatever, and whatever on that particular firm website, including me, we will try our best to answer your questions, right? It's a healthy community I'm trying to build. Please support. And if you're watching this video at the end, that means you do like my content. If you do like my content and if you see value in my content, please hit that subscribe button and please hit that like button. And yeah, that's pretty much all for this video, and see you in the next.